Welcome to the Work Trends Podcast, brought to you by Talent Culture. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau. Every week, I interview smart people reimagining the world of work. Be sure to stay current with all of our interesting podcasts by visiting our page at Talent Culture Work Trends on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And of course, you can listen at talentculture.com on the podcast page. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talent Culture Work Trends Podcast, sponsored by Darwinbox. I'm your host, Megan M. Bureau, and today we are exploring how AI is shaping HR in a myriad of ways. With curiosity and in AI at an all-time high, we dive into why it's not just a buzzword, but how it's improving HR and HR tech today and forever. This is going to be a fantastic episode. Buckle your seatbelts. But before we begin today's podcast, please ask yourself these two questions. Number one, how are you witnessing AI affect HR activities in your industry? And number two, what are the HR tech functions that you hope AI improves? Today, we are thrilled to welcome Sudi Bjornstad, Senior Vice President of Sales at Darwinbox. She has spent nearly 2 decades transforming HR, first as an HR leader, then as a powerhouse in the enterprise HR tech sales space. Passionate about building the next legacy in HR innovation, Sudi is now leading Darwinbox's strategic growth across North America. Welcome, Sudi. We are so glad to have you here with us today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. So listen, let's dive right into it. Sudi, you've had a really hands-on journey in HR, leading people functions at high-growth companies. When you think back to your time as a practitioner, what were the biggest challenges you faced with HR tech?
Well, back when I was leading HR at PSAV, which is now Encore Technologies, we had over 8,000 employees, contractors across 700 locations. And one of the first projects that I had to do when I got there is to update the technology. It was outdated, disconnected. We couldn't run reports, separate systems for performance, spreadsheets, all of those. Yeah.
My goodness.
The data was just terrible, and I had really no ability to make decisions using the data that we had. So it was inefficient, and we really were growing fast, and we needed to make a change. So the frustration really pushed me to lead a transition to a unified HCM platform. And I remember at the time looking at all the options, and I just felt so frustrated as I didn't feel like any of them really were going to solve the problem that I had, which was really unifying the data and being able to get accurate data. When I found UltiPro back in 2008, maybe, I remember saying, "Where have you been all my life? I've been looking for you." So we deployed UltiPro in under 6 months and saw immediate results. 30% reduction in HR transaction costs, 50% reduction in headcount, a huge increase in performance participation. The performance review process and our compensation process was really quite manual. So we made some big improvements there. This was probably my first real exposure to how selecting the right technology really can transform HR from a support function into a strategic driver.
Yeah, and you said 6 months. That's got to be all hands on for that 6 months for that to take place.
It was, and we were really truly transforming our processes because they were just so manual. So it was a huge learning experience. I had an incredible team that had the skill set to do this kind of work. So we were very successful. Not being successful was not an option.
You're like, I'm looking for sanity. Thank you, technology. So listen, Darwinbox has a fantastic team of people. I'm huge fans of their culture. And what a great addition you are. I think your background lends itself so nicely to this position. And I'm sure your experience, including the challenges, and I think most importantly, those challenges, really sets you up to speak to the language of your customers, right? So if we were to dream big together, and we do a lot here, right, at Talent Culture, what does an ideal HR tech ecosystem look like to you?
Oh, great question. I think, back 15, 20 years ago, it was really about automation and getting data. And now it is really about the employee experience. And the ideal system starts with one key principle, and it puts the employee at the center. It's not about the administrators getting reports anymore. It's about the employee having an amazing experience. So it's not just the theory of that, because everyone will say that, but it's actually
I was just going to say, like, how many people out there, and if you're listening in the talent culture work trends community, how many times have we in HR and recruiting and talent heard these words? Oh, yeah, it's comprehensive. It includes that. Oh, you're going to get the word that you said before, Sudi, participation. To me, that's the secret.
That is. And I do think, looking back, again, with my experience in history, that the way the systems were designed 20 years ago, that was the intent, is having everything kind of together. And that's just not the way that the world works anymore. And the companies don't work that way anymore. So it really is how it's actually designed. Intuitive. Yes, everyone says their product is intuitive, but a lot of times we're bolting on things to make it intuitive or changing things to make it intuitive. It wasn't built that way. It's a consumer grade UX, interacting with HR through things such as Teams that they use every day. They don't have to log into another system. They're utilizing Teams or utilizing the tools that they're used to being in all day, every day, and making it as easy as possible. So the adoption is, 97, 98, 99%. When you're not having to leave your day-to-day tools, it really makes a huge difference. When we say access, when we say mobile first, it's not just about being mobile, it's about using the tools.
Yeah, no question about it. And I have to say, I really love this perspective, Sudi. I like looking at HR tech as an ecosystem, so I'm really enjoying the way you're currently connecting the dots. I think it's so important that HR and people technology function in a truly supportive and integrated way. And in my opinion, this way of looking at it really ensures that investments in systems truly lift the organization as a whole. And, I'm going to bring up AI, of course. It is reshaping so many industries, including HR. From your lens, what are some practical ways AI can actually drive value instead of just being a buzzword?
Yeah, I think that HR has really reached this tipping point where we're drowning in data. We've got systems, legacy enterprise systems are starting to get dated. We're starving for these just insights across all of the platform, not just different pieces of it. So I've lived through the evolution. I've seen spreadsheets, manual processes, cloud-based platforms, and now AI. And I can say that AI is one of the most powerful levers we have in HR today. Not because it's flashy, not because it's got a cool, gimmicky name, but it truly does help HR teams make better decisions more efficiently, faster, and it is able to change the way that HR thinks. So some examples is AI can predict who might be at risk of leaving, recommend development paths, personalize your learning, all at huge scales in large companies, performance reviews. It can take other people's feedback and provide summaries quickly, eliminate unconscious bias, but it is really giving HR time back to focus on what really matters.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, everyone wants to truly understand the practical application of AI, but it's not always clear. So with all the platforms out there, what is it about Darwinbox that made you say, this is the one I want to be part of?
I think, when you see something, you just know. And I've been in this space long enough that when I saw Darwinbox, I was like, this is where I want to be. I can hardly contain my excitement for what Darwinbox is bringing to the U.S. market. It was a convergence of timing, vision, culture. After 12 incredible years at UKG, I really was ready for a new challenge, one that I could build something transformative, and Darwinbox gave me that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I am so glad because you're a great match for each other. And, and I mean, we're big fans of culture fit here at Talent Culture. And this seems like the beginning of a really fruitful trajectory that will positively impact the US market for sure. So, can you share an example from a previous role where a platform like Darwinbox would have made a real difference?
Well, what Darwinbox is bringing to the market is the architecture and the momentum. It's built for the world we're working in now, the AI native and the being incredibly agile. But back when I was at PSAV, one of the things we were doing is we were acquiring companies. We were moving into that global space, and we really had absolutely no way to utilize our systems to track our global compliance, our global employees. So what is exciting about Darwinbox is how intentionally global the platform is. And no one in the space is really, that I've seen, is good at doing this. It's not just translated, it's localized. It understands that HR practices in North America differ from those in the Middle East or Southeast Asia. The platform flexes to regional compliance, language, workflows, and even things such as cultural nuances. And it still gives leadership a unified view of their entire workforce.
What you just said, Sudie, I think once again, this is a great opportunity for people to have those aha moments. We both know HR leaders are still facing those challenges. They're seeking solutions right here in the talent culture community that will improve their jobs, their teams, and the organization. Again, I'm going to go back to it as a whole, right? Because that's what this is about. Okay, final question. Time flies here. What's your vision for Darwinbox in the North American market? And how does this is everybody sitting down with their seatbelts on? $140 million of funding from KKR and Partners Group accelerate that journey and the dream.
It's super exciting. The North American market is at a turning point. Flexibility, the employee experience, data-driven decisions are now table stakes. But legacy HR systems aren't keeping up. They're too big and disconnected to support how our today's organizations are working. So Darwinbox is truly built for this moment. It is truly global, it's agile, it is built for teams, global teams across the world. And it doesn't just manage processes, it personalizes employee journeys, it delivers real-time insights that drive action, and it is exactly what today's enterprises need to stay competitive. When you layer in the $140 million investment from KKR and Partners Group, it's a game changer. It gives us the power to invest in the U.S. market, expanding our go-to-market team, building stronger partner ecosystems, and customizing the platform for North American nuances, compliance, integrations, and user expectations. So it is about the kind of partners, it is about the kind of support that we have for this journey. KKR and Partners Group aren't just investors. They bring decades of enterprise growth, expertise, and access to a network of global leaders. That signals confidence, not just in where we are today, but in our long-term vision to become the HR tech platform of the future. So to answer your question, we're not just entering North America with ambition. We're entering with momentum, credibility, and a platform that's ready to lead the next wave of HR transformation. We're not here to follow, we're here to lead.
Well, I have to say this is so exciting for your team and the U.S. market that will undoubtedly benefit from what Darwinbox has to offer. Big congratulations to all of you. What an accomplishment. This level of investment clearly underscores that AI and HR really is the future of HR tech, and I'm excited to see what unfolds next. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Fun conversation today. It's been a while since the HR industry has universally felt a giant shift, and I believe we're truly in the midst of a major change. With that level of curiosity and uncertainty, it's important to have trusted partners to help guide the way. I am very grateful to Sudie and the Darwinbox team for breaking down complex operations into digestible explanations that level set where we're headed. Here's a few of my key takeaways. number one, AI in HR is here to stay, and it is imperative that anyone in an HR leadership role takes the time to understand how it can be applied in their scope of influence. Number two, while change can be daunting, I get it, the right mindset for AI is enthusiasm for how we can make HR function smarter, easier, faster, and less expensive. Number three, HR tech and industry paradigm shifts require trusted partners to walk you through what's possible. In the world of AI, there are opportunities around every corner, but it's imperative to have some guidance. Sudi, thanks again for being with us today. Last but certainly not least, the talent culture community. We want to hear from you. Be sure to use the hashtag WorkTrends and share your thoughts on the following questions. What AI-related capabilities do you hope to adopt into your daily functions? Number two, what are the hardest elements of AI integration to explain to leaders, employers, or colleagues, or friends for that matter? And what challenges are you excited to overcome with AI this year? Visit us on LinkedIn, the Gram, Twitter X to share your responses to these questions, or feel free to contact me personally at Megan M. Bureau on the socials or mbureau@talentculture.com. As always, I want to thank you for listening to this Work Trends podcast, the place to find meaningful connections at work. If you love what we do here, make sure to share our podcast with your friends and your colleagues. Send us a question using the hashtag WorkTrends. I will see you all soon. Thanks for joining us for today's conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Just a reminder that you can hear all the Work Trends podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on the podcast page at talentculture.com. Be sure to subscribe so you can listen on the go and stay up to date on all the latest news you want to hear. I look forward to catching up with you next time. I hope today's information made you wiser, happier, more informed, and most importantly, thinking of how you can use it to improve the quality of your life.